I'm going to ask you to do something you've probably never, ever done in church. So, excuse me. So that means you don't necessarily have to do it, okay? What I want you to do is to get ready to clap. Get your hands up if you're going to participate. If not, you don't have to. Not a problem. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my hands like this. And as soon as my hands are like right here, I want you to clap. Okay? So let's try it. Oh, that was really good. You guys are better than the 8:30 guys. Oh, you're on it. Outstanding. Okay, let's do it one more time. Oh. Oh. And why did you do that? Because you were anticipating. You're also trusting me to follow through with what I said I was going to do. But you were anticipating that moment when you were going to clap. You know, today I want to talk to you about moments, important moments, moments of discovery, moments of recognition, moments when you can recognize God is working somewhere in your life. So we have a wonderful story, and Father Wally already set that story in motion, and it comes from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 10. But before we can understand blind Bartimaeus, and by the way, did you catch what Mark did there? He said, Bartimaeus, son of Timaeus. Now, what does that tell you right off the bat? It tells you Mark is writing to a Gentile audience. Why? Because everybody in Israel's bar something. they're all bar something, and so he's defining what Bartimaeus means for the Gentiles. Interesting. That's trivia. But I think it's important for us as we're reading through the gospel, all of a sudden we realize he's writing for Gentiles because he's defining a Hebrew term. But before we get to Bartimaeus, I want us to step back a little bit to the previous story. And this is the story of Jesus and the disciples, and we don't know how many are with them. We don't know when the crowd picks up when he gets to Jericho, if they're coming down from Galilee with him or not. But they're coming down the Jordan Valley. Now, if you go to Israel, and you're heading south from Galilee, you're going to have the hills of Israel on your right, and on the left, you're going to have contemporary today, you're going to have the Jordanian mountains. And the Jordanian side, the mountains are a little bit taller than the Israel side, but you've got the Jordan River that cut through this valley. It's a big valley right now. So you can imagine they're coming down from Galilee going to Jericho. And James and John come up to Jesus while they're walking, and they say, hey, Jesus, do something for us. And Jesus says, well, what is it that you want me to do for you? And they say, hey, why don't you put us on your left and your right hand when we go to heaven, you know? And Jesus says, you have no clue what you're asking right now. So we have this question, what can I do for you? What do you want me to do for you? That comes out of Jesus' mouth. And the two disciples are asking for power, in essence. This is a power position to be at the right and the left hand of Jesus. And he says, you can't handle it. So now we're moving down the Jordan Valley, and the Jordan River goes off like this into the Dead Sea. But there's a city there, and it's called Jericho. And that city is placed in a really interesting place because it's right where the turn is to go west up into the Judean wilderness to get to Jerusalem. Now, Jericho, you also need to know, was one of the winter houses of Herod. So he would go down there, and that meant there was a lot of activity already in that year-round in Jericho, because there were a lot of wealthy people who would come through and frequent Herod's winter home. So we have Jesus now coming into Jericho, a lot of activity, probably a lot of Romans around Jericho, and he takes a right. Mary Jo and I have seen that. Some of you have been on the bus trips we used to take, where we would go and take this right turn onto a dirt road and begin to wind our way up, maybe the very same pathway that Jesus took himself. They won't let us do it anymore because it is so frightening to have these big tour buses going up this dirt road. But we think that's where it was. Now, Bartimaeus is one of probably several beggars at that turn from Jericho that goes off up into the mountains to go to Jerusalem. So there are a bunch of beggars right there on the side of the road. Now, the scriptures tell us that Jesus came in with his disciples and a crowd. Can you imagine the noise, even just of the sandals on the sand as they're coming through? And I imagine they're talking. I imagine there's a buzz going on, so there's noise as you're coming through Jericho to get to Jerusalem. And out of all of that buzz and noise, Jesus hears one voice. Bartimaeus. Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. And everyone's going, shh, 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 shh. And the reason they're doing that is that he has now used a messianic title for Jesus. And what if Herod's people hear that? They'll be threatened. What if the Romans hear it, that a Messiah has come to town? And the Romans knew the theology of the Jews, and the Jews expected a warrior Messiah to come in. And so they're saying, shh, shh, shh. But Bartimaeus says, Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. And he says it again and again. And they're telling him to be quiet. And through all of this chaos, Jesus hears Bartimaeus' voice. And he stops and he says, bring him to me. And somebody goes up to Bartimaeus and says, ooh, this is your day. He just called you. And so he springs up. And Brianna probably tell you, as she started to walk to Father Wally, that's kind of scary, isn't it? Not knowing where you are exactly. But he sprung up and went to Jesus. Now, Jesus says to Bartimaeus, what do you want me to do for you? You remember that question? Same question. Same question that he asked the two disciples as they were coming down the Jordan Valley. What do you want me to do for you? And Bartimaeus, selfish, we don't know, but he certainly wanted to see. And he said, I want my vision back. And Jesus said, go, your faith has healed you. Now I want to talk to you a moment about that moment. That moment in the time of Bartimaeus' life. That moment when he was sitting on the side of the road and he was crying out. He made a choice to cry out to Jesus in that moment. And people were telling him to be quiet, and he continued to do it. Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. See, that moment was pregnant with the possibility that Jesus would enter into his life and answer his need at that moment. Moments are interesting, aren't they? Because we all have them. We live in moments. Our family likes to watch Doctor Who. Remember Doctor Who? The Doctor Who was started, a BBC program started back in 1963 with some of the cheesiest props I've ever seen in my life. You know, cut out cardboard and stuff. But we're into Doctor Who. We love the Time Lord who goes forward in time and backwards in time. And the thing about Doctor Who is that he cannot mess with established history. But he goes in to make sure that that history happens the way it's supposed to happen. You want to know something? You are time travelers. You may not be able to go back, but I'll tell you one thing, you do go forward. Every one of us goes forward moment by moment, making us time travelers as we move forward in moments. And these moments present something to us, either a mundane moment or a moment pregnant with the opportunity to do something. And every time we make a decision, every time we make a choice in that moment, we are determining a future course. How do we recognize those moments? Well, Bartimaeus stood before Jesus, and his moment was to cry out, Now his moment when he saw for the very first time, who did he see? He saw Jesus turning and heading towards Jerusalem. And what does Bartimaeus do in that moment? He turns and he follows Jesus up the hills to Jerusalem. You see, that was a moment that Bartimaeus made a decision. And that was a decision to follow on a journey, to go on an adventure that was life-changing. Now, I know most of our moments are mundane. I understand that. But there are moments in our lives when we can, if we can, recognize them, that God is there, that we need the opportunity and should take hold of the opportunity to choose God, to say yes to God. Because it will change your life. It'll change the course of your life. It will move you into the future in a positive way. You know, we were at the diocesan convention, and so had the opportunity, if you want to look at it that way, of watching Albuquerque news. Well, it wasn't a very good night for news because, as you well know, there was a guy who had road rage on I-40. And you know what he did? In the moment of decision, he pulled a gun and shot a 4-year-old girl in the back of that truck, whom he was mad at the girl's dad. Decisions shape who we are, and they shape the destiny that we have. And then that night, there was a policeman, Albuquerque policeman, who stopped a guy on a stolen motorcycle. The guy was a repeat offender. As the cop came up, the guy pulled out a gun and shot him in the neck and the head. And to the best of my knowledge, he's still alive. The guy on the motorcycle made another decision in a moment to change the destiny of his life. What I want us to do as a parish, what us to do as Christians, is to find every opportunity we can to say yes to God. I got up this morning. I usually don't sense God when I first get up in the morning. But I said to God, when I got out of bed, I said, yes, God. I don't think God asked anything of me. But I made a conscious decision to say yes to God because it was a choice. And that choice puts me on a path of destiny. Puts me on a path to the future. And if I can start with a yes, God, there will be a series of situations and circumstances that will happen because of that yes in that moment at that time. We live in the moments. Let's learn how to take those moments and say yes to God. Amen.